Around 7:30 in the morning, Dad and I went to a place called Spread Bakery in Philadelphia in order to get, technically initially it was to get some coffee somewhere from what I recall. Rather than Dad just making it within our hotel room again. Like he did yesterday. If I recall, it was closer to 7:15 in the morning when we left, and it was a relatively short walk to get to that Spread Bakery. We had some coffee at that Spread Bakery. I had plain coffee. Whereas from what I recall, Dad got some kind of latte. And he got me a bagel with some cream cheese. I recall picking out the maple bacon cream cheese for a sesame bagel. Though at times I recall the cream cheese only vaguely tasting savory and sweet. And at other times, not so much. Like maple bacon. But it was still pretty good. Pretty enjoyable. Initially, I considered getting a breakfast sandwich from that place. But Dad instead got that bagel with cream cheese. Because we were about to eat at another Sabrina's Cafe location. This one built out of what seemed to originally be some kind of townhouse. The kind of house that a fraternity or sorority would be in. So at some places that Sabrina's Cafe looked more like an inn or a home than an actual restaurant. Like the first Sabrina's Cafe location we went to yesterday. But at the Sabrina's Cafe location we went to today, with my two parents and my sister, I decided to get one of the Mario-themed brunch specials. They were offering at the time, though they were Mario-themed in that they involved some of the Mario characters, such as Mario and Bowser. For brunch specials that I felt weren't really Mario themed. But were still pretty good. For some time I was split between either the I Can't Believe It's Not Creep Creep Teriyaki Salmon Bowl, or Mario's Korean Chicken Kimchi Bowl. But I ultimately decided on the Teriyaki Salmon Bowl because the description said it came with something called kale soba noodles. And at the time my food came around 10 in the morning, I placed that order maybe about 10 to 15 minutes prior while at the location. I was in the mood for something with noodles in it. Though initially I was hesitant because the kale soba noodles seemed different to me, and I wasn't sure how those noodles would be like in terms of texture and flavor. I hadn't really heard of soba noodles much, let alone kale soba noodles. But I think I preferred the soba noodles over the coconut rice that would be in the Korean chicken kimchi bowl. Yoshi's Elvis-inspired waffle also caught my attention. though just early on, and not as much as the teriyaki salmon bowl or Korean chicken kimchi bowl. I also had some more coffee, more plain coffee, both here and to go at Sabrina's Cafe. These are some of the bagels, some of the dozen for $23 that Dad got from the Spread Bakery. That we went to a few hours before we went to that second Sabrina's Cafe location. The bagels seem to be pretty good. Dad picked out a good variety. For the dozen bagels he got, so we could have bagels without having to go to Wegmans as soon as we got home. And we got home around 5 p.m. If I recall, it was exactly 5 p.m. when Dad drove us home after about a 6-hour drive from Philadelphia to our place. During a day in which it was pretty much overcast and rainy throughout the whole day. I also had some ice water at that Sabrina's Cafe location that we went to today. It featured some pretty good looking art. Jess, Dad, and I went to that Spread Bakery location. From what I saw within that place, it's either their recently opened first location or their recently opened second location. I was in the right back passenger seat for the whole drive home, including after we made a brief rest stop at a gas station for some gas for the car, and also to go to the bathroom. which at least Dad and I took advantage of. Throughout the day, I wore a yellow hoodie from the time I got up around 4 in the morning to the end of the drive back home at 5 p.m. I recall initially being uncomfortable during the car ride home, at times having to support my back, either with one of my hands or later on a jacket, because otherwise my back would hurt. My back is fine now, and towards the last last hour of the car ride back home, I felt more comfortable. Though I don't recall any point in which I fell asleep during the car drive back home, during which Dad drove and Mom was in the front passenger seat. To serve as a navigator. Early to mid of the car drive back home, I would also support my back by sitting up straight rather than leaning into the car seat. And at times having my hands raised rather than being at my sides at the same time that I sat up straight.